It comes in different forms: the opportunity that didn't come through, the relationship that ended before you were ready, the door that closed firmly on something you had built real hope around. And in that moment, in the specific, clean pain of a rejection, your mind does something almost automatic. It tells a story about what this means, about what you are worth, about whether the thing you wanted was ever really possible, about whether you are the kind of person good things happen to or the kind of person they happen around. Most people believe that story, completely, immediately, and they carry it forward into the next attempt, the next relationship, the next opportunity, as evidence. Proof that a certain kind of outcome is simply not available to them. The Stoics would call this the most expensive mistake a human being can make. Not the rejection itself, the story you tell about it. This is mind armor. And today, we are going into the Stoic way of seeing pain, specifically the pain of rejection, and why, if you understand it correctly, it is one of the most powerful forces available to you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He was not writing about minor inconveniences. He was writing from inside a life of relentless, crushing difficulty. Wars he didn't choose, plagues that decimated his armies, the deaths of children, betrayals by people he trusted. He was writing as a man who had been stopped over and over by things outside his control, and who had discovered, through practice, not theory, that the stopping was never the end of the story. It was always, without exception, part of the story. The door that closed redirected him. The path that was blocked revealed another. The thing he lost created the space for something his comfortable, uninterrupted path would never have demanded of him. He didn't arrive at this understanding through optimism. He arrived at it through the repeated, honest observation that difficulty, approached correctly, had never once produced only damage. It had always, alongside the damage, produced something he could not have developed any other way. Here is what rejection actually is when you strip away the story your ego attaches to it. Rejection is information, specific, valuable, often uncomfortable information. It tells you that this particular path, at this particular time, with these particular circumstances, did not align, that something about the fit was off. Your timing, your preparation, their needs, the situation's requirements, the direction your life actually needs to go. It is not a verdict on your worth. It is not evidence of permanent limitation. It is not proof that the thing you want is unavailable to you. It is data, delivered in a form that is painful precisely because you cared enough to try. And the question is not, why did this happen to me? The question is, what is this telling me, and where does it point? Epictetus taught, "Seek not that things should happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well." This is not passive acceptance. It is the radical act of trusting that the path your life is actually taking, including and especially through the closed doors, is navigable. That you are not being denied what you need. You are being redirected toward it. Think about the trajectory of your own life, the thing that felt like the worst possible outcome at the time, the rejection that seemed to close something permanently, the failure that felt like a verdict. Where did it lead? Not always immediately, not always obviously. But eventually, what did that closed door force you to find that the open one would have let you ignore? Most people, when they look back honestly, can identify at least one rejection that was the beginning of something they now would not trade. A relationship that ended and cleared space for one that was actually right. A job that turned them down and pushed them toward work that mattered. A path that was blocked and another that, once taken, proved to be entirely theirs. The Stoics were not naive about pain. Seneca wrote about loss with raw honesty. Marcus grieved. Epictetus did not pretend that difficulty was secretly comfortable. They felt it fully, but they refused to let the pain write the whole story. They insisted on the longer view, the view that sees not just the door that closed, but the space that opened. Not just the loss, but the capacity it built. Not just the rejection, but the redirection. Here is the practice. When rejection comes, and it will come, give yourself time to feel it honestly. Don't perform Stoic detachment before you've allowed the actual human response. Feel the disappointment. Acknowledge the loss. This is not weakness. This is the beginning of honest processing. Then, when the initial wave has moved through, ask 3 questions. What does this tell me about where I actually am versus where I thought I was? What does this create space for that wasn't available before? And what would I need to develop to ensure this kind of closing leads somewhere I choose rather than somewhere I drift? Write the answers. Not to manufacture false positivity. To begin the deliberate act of making meaning, not accepting the meaning the rejection seems to declare, but choosing the meaning that serves the person you are becoming. Because rejection is not the end of the story. It is a chapter. And the chapters you live through most painfully are almost always the ones that turn out to matter most. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, and do so with all your heart." Not resigned acceptance. Active embrace. The choice to meet what comes, including the pain of what doesn't come through, with the full force of your engagement rather than the withdrawal of your bitterness. That is the Stoic way to see pain, not as punishment, as the sharpest tool available for building the life that is actually yours. This is Mind Armor. Tell me in the comments about a rejection that redirected you somewhere better. I read every single one. Stay open, stay moving. I'll see you in the next one.